Hello, my name is Holly Whistler, and welcome to my professional development on vocabulary strategies for all content areas and all ages. I do instructional design for National Community College, and I'm a doctoral candidate at UNCW. Just a little bit about me. I have a teaching background in all subjects, mainly English language arts, math, and science in middle and high school. I have 8 years of experience with special education students. My experience is in learning disabilities and emotional disabilities. I have 7 years of experience teaching in higher ed, English, and education courses. And my areas of expertise are data-driven planning, educational technology, and student engagement. First thing I'd like to review is how students learn new vocabulary. I like to call this the 3 S's. So first of all, students make connections with the vocabulary by sound. So asking students, does anything about the word sound familiar, helps them connect the ideas of prefixes, suffixes, and root words. Greek and Latin roots are common across all of our vocabulary, and so it's important that students start seeing these connections between these pieces of words. The next things that I ask students about vocabulary is setting. I ask them, have you ever encountered the word in a certain setting before? So maybe at church, at the doctor, at the beach. This will help students realize that words are bound by situations and settings. And so, for instance, the word chamber can be used at church, but it can also be used in a hospital to talk about the heart. The third thing that I notice, or I have students notice about their vocabulary, are the surroundings of the word. Is there anything within the text or the sentence that helps students understand the new word? Do the words around it help students understand the tone or the meaning of the word? So for instance, sometimes the surroundings of the word help us figure out if the word is a negative word or positive word. It will also give us examples of the word, or it will take notice of antonyms or synonyms that help us figure out what the word means. The first thing students need as they are growing as learners of new vocabulary is context. So some examples of context are a stimulus text. So for instance, students learn words best when they have other words around them to help them understand how the word fits into the larger vocabulary. Charts and graphs also help students with context. Images and photos of the word. News articles so that they understand how word meanings might change or be adapted in order to elicit an emotion. Videos and interviews, understanding how these words are said, and also any emotion or tone related to the word. And then students' experiences and observations, so watching people say the word or watching people say the word in certain situations. One context that's really easy for students is current events. Students absorb vocabulary as they watch the news, as they listen to their parents discuss events. Newsela is a great tool for students and teachers because it has articles at different Lexile levels. So your entire class, no matter what their reading level is, can read the same text. Generally, Lexile is aligned with grade level. The nice thing about Newsela is that there are quizzes at the end of each article. There are photos that link to the main idea of the article, and then there are links to other resources. The example that I have for you is a Newsela article about mini cans of soda. And notice the picture elicits some math and science skills because it shows the different sizes and it shows the ounces and the calories in the can. Now notice here it says grade level 5, word count 609 words. Notice over here I can change the Lexile anytime I want, and I can also get a preview of the quiz. Notice here in the news article I get a chart so that if the students want to understand the concept, and then I also have headers. Okay, and this will help students with understanding new vocabulary. All right, now, as we design a vocabulary lesson, what I'd like for you guys to do is to pause the video, pause the professional development, and find yourself a stimulus text in which you could pull some vocabulary. So if you are a science teacher, go find a science text. If you're a history teacher, go find a history text. If you'd like to use Newsela, feel free. If you'd like to pull something from your textbook, feel free. But I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to go and find a stimulus text, or you just may pause this PD and go and grab yourself a text online or in a book. All right, so hopefully everyone is back and has chosen a text. So now that you have chosen your text, okay, so a stimulus text can be your textbook, a news article, a movie, just something that uses language that will help students access the content. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is identify key terms. So read through or listen to your stimulus text and identify these key terms. And one way to help students access key terms is to do a word wall. And this word wall is basically a place for students to display their interactions with the words. Okay, so if you will pause the PD and go ahead and identify the key terms in your stimulus text. And then once you do that, we will move on to step 3. So again, please pause and read through and identify the key terms that you would like students to learn. All right, now that you guys have your vocabulary, the next thing that we want to do is we want to help students understand the word. And we are going to use vocabulary mapping for that. This is one of my favorite vocabulary maps, and it allows the student to access the word using various strategies. So notice the student has to identify the part of speech, the student has to come up with a synonym, the student has to use the word in a sentence, the student has to put the definition down, and then the student has to create an illustration that represents the word. So generally what I do in my classroom is I divide all of the words, and I have students do this on the back of a piece of paper, and on the front I'll put the word, and this helps us create our word wall. So if I have 16 words and I have 14 students, then generally I'll have each student take a word, and then I'll have some bonus words so that students who get done before everyone else can do 2 words. And then we put them up on the wall, and then those are the words that maybe we work on for a couple days. Okay, so right now we're just at the point where we want students to understand the word. Now, students can get the definition from a dictionary, or you can have the students come up with their own definition. The point is, though, with the stimulus text is for the students to hopefully use the text to help them figure out what the word means, to use that context. So, if you will pause the PD and complete the word map. And then once we're done, we'll talk about some other activities that you can do. So again, pause the professional development and find one word in your stimulus text that you can use to make a word map. All right, so here is an example of a vocabulary map. So there's our vocabulary word success. There's some examples, non-examples, characteristics, definitions. So this is another example of a vocabulary map. But regardless, it's the student interacting. Now, sometimes what I've done is after the student is done with their vocabulary map, I have them trade with a partner in class, and then the partner can add some things. So the partner can add another sentence or add another synonym. And this helps students understand that language is interactive. We decide as humans sort of how language fits in and how language adapts and changes over time. Now, as you learn vocabulary, there are other activities to reinforce this new vocabulary. So now that students have an idea and understand it, you can identify those words with which students are struggling. And so these are activities that can help students understand their new words. So the first things that I like to do are acronyms and acrostics. The next set of things that I like to do are poems, and then the last thing are cartoons and comics. Now, a lot of this can be aligned with their learning style. I also like to maybe give students choices. Maybe I have students choose between a poem or a cartoon. The first one is an acrostic or acronym poem. So what this does is the acronym means that we write the word, and then each letter of the word, we write a word that helps us understand the vocabulary word. So for instance, for circle, I could put circumference, inscribed angles, radius, central angles, length, and equidistant. So this will help the students understand that these words all work together to help us understand a circle. So this would be a great one for math class. Then I have what's called an acrostic. And this is the actual poem where each letter of the word actually forms a sentence and forms a poem. This would be really great for like history or literature class. So for instance, you could do Gandhi here. And students with the G could talk about something Gandhi did. And this would help students prepare for the test. So this helps enhance what the students already know about the word. Now, sometimes I encourage students to pull words from the stimulus text to go with circle or to go with, Cindy or Gandhi. Now, there's several types of poems that I like to use. Haiku is one of my favorites because it helps them with syllables. And so, if they can't get a certain word to work, then they have to look up an antonym or rather a synonym of the word that might have less syllables or more syllables to work with the 5-7-5 pattern. So notice this one's a rainbow. So you could easily use this for science, for like photosynthesis or mitosis. Diamante is another good one because it helps with parts of speech, because each line has a separate part of speech. So for instance, the first one says noun, then there are adjectives, and there are verbs, then there's a phrase, and there are verbs, adjectives, and then there's the renaming noun. So the noun at the top is the vocabulary word, and the noun at the bottom is a synonym for it. So it'll help students make connections between the two words. Limericks are fun. Limerick is a 5-line poem with a specific rhyme pattern, and each line has a specific number of syllables. Kids like these because they're funny and they always kind of make you grin. So this is really great for history and science too, because you could say there once was an animal named zebra, right? So you could have them do it related to animals or insects, flowers, anything like that. You could also do it for history. There once was a man named Gandhi, right? And this helps with rhyming, and this also helps with vocabulary awareness, because if they have a word that they want to call Gandhi, but the word doesn't rhyme or doesn't fit the pattern, then they have to go and look for a synonym in a thesaurus or come up with another word. So it really helps with vocabulary awareness. Now, cartoons and comics are really good, especially for kids who are into comics. So this one's a really good one that I found online. Excuse me. So this is about lab safety. So this one, the keyword here is Bunsen burner, right? Understanding the open flame and being safe in the lab. So you can have students create these for history, literature, science, even math, especially related to like graphs or circles or triangles. So these really help students understand the concepts. Now, there are also some high-tech vocabulary tools out there. Read, Write, Think has a lot of really good tools. So on Read, Write, Think, I actually went to 5th grade and I went to vocabulary, and there are 103 lesson plans that are vocabulary. There's an alphabet book, which is really good. I really enjoy alphabet books. There's an alphabet organizer. There's a book cover creator. That's one of my favorites. The carousel strategy is really good. So Read, Write, Think has a lot of really good high-tech information on there. Poem Maker, Read, Write, Think also has Poem Makers. Padlet's also a really good resource. And it just looks like a big bulletin board. And a lot of times I have students create thesis statements on there. Okay, Toondoo, Comic Creator are both really good. Okay, and then in general, just all vocabulary resources, I go to Read, Write, Think a lot. Okay, and notice this is just a big giant bulletin board. So you could have students do, their definition for their word up there, their sentence for their word, and then compare what everybody's doing. So those are some really great strategies as well. So what I would encourage you to do is, now that you have an idea of how to do vocabulary strategies, take a look at your stimulus text and think about your plan for the week. Okay, so as you're planning your lesson plan this week, what you want to think about how the students learn the new vocabulary. So they need time to sound the word out. They need to think about where they've heard the word before, and then they need to see the word in a bigger text. So as you're planning and you need a stimulus text, make sure you're choosing your stimulus text appropriately and thoughtfully. Newsela is a great place to get stimulus text. And as you're designing, start off with just getting a basic understanding of the word by using a word wall in your classroom. You can also do a digital word wall using Padlet. And then take a look at some vocabulary mapping to also help your students get the basic understanding of your word. And then choose an activity. So based on your stimulus text and based on the words that you underlined, choose one of these to practice. So practice an acronym or an acrostic. Practice a haiku, diamante, or limerick. If you go to Read, Write, Think, they have a diamante creator. And students could type in it. They also have an acrostic one. Acrostic's really good too. And notice you put in your name and you put in your topic. So let's say I pick photosynthesis. So they need to start with the letters in the topic. So I might put plants, and then I might put heat, and then I might put over time. So you see how that works? So that's another good one. So get a little practice with understanding how to do these. Even play around with the cartoon creator. So I can go to Read, Write, Think, and I can hit cartoon, or I can put in comic. That's a good one. And there's a comic creator. So you could have them create a comic, and you could assign them 3 words that they have to use in the comic. I've had students in high school, I've given them a vocabulary word, and they had to create a character who embodies this word. So for instance, sometimes I'll give them a tone word like frustrated, and their whole comic, this character in their comic has to embody this word or be the epitome of this word. So that's another great way to challenge high schoolers. So I would encourage you to go and try these strategies out with your students, but try them on your own first so that you get an idea of what your students will encounter as they do these activities, and then that'll help you plan as well. I would also encourage students to work together. Sometimes I would partner students up, and sometimes I would even purposefully give them vocabulary based on their reading level. And so that's another way you can differentiate. So if you have a low student and a high student, you could give them the same task, but give them a different word in order to help them reach their goal, which is good reading. And all of these are great strategies that can work in any classroom. So if you guys have any questions, you can leave a comment below on the YouTube video, or you can contact me directly, hgwhistler@gmail.com. I would love to answer any questions you have, or if you have a activity you want to do and you just want to know if there's a digital tool out there or a strategy that you can use, I would definitely encourage you to reach out. Have a great school year, and I hope you enjoy all of these resources. Head to Google these resources, and you'll find lots of great examples, great ways to implement these into your classroom, no matter what content area you teach or what age group you teach. So I hope you enjoy these. Again, contact me if you have any questions, and have a great school year.